That's why I'm here. Oh, okay. That's why we're in that sense. Okay.
That's why the country is is tightening their belts. Is looking twice at their pocketbooks. They're not going on that extra vacation this year. Not only that, they're losing their houses. Not only that, but they have medical bills. Not only that, they're about to be forced to have more. Not only that, but the wages are dropping, gas prices are going up, and food is becoming a GMO haven. And Fukushima is still burning. I haven't heard any reports that Fukushima has stopped burning. I'm sure they would make that mainstream news. See, everything's fine.
I think there's been a information blackout on Fukushima since day one.
Definitely. But
Jim Stone and one or two others really had some of the access to what caused the initial incident, and also kind of why it appeared that the Japanese, like the TEPCO officials, were hamstrung, not seeming to respond. It was because their system was disabled by the Stuxnet virus.
That's an interesting...
Which is a specifically designed virus which attacks hydraulically based, engineered, really complex systems like a nuclear plant or some kind of other electronics plant.
Well, how much proof do we have that actually happened? That the virus, that they did, suffer from that virus, and that TEPCO did.
I think that there is some, and you can also compare it to what we know of in other cases where Stuxnet was used. It was used I guess maybe the most celebrated case is its use against Iran, when it essentially came out that Israel apparently, was the home company of the source engineering company that wrote the software, and that it clearly served as a very good weapon to really it set back the nuclear energy development program in Iran about a year or two, just with those attacks. I personally don't believe that Iran is involved in a weapons program at all. They seem to have been quite fastidious about, meeting the agreed upon inspections and whatnot. So the whole thing about Iran is just, by definition, to me, seems like all a false flag, a provocation with no legitimate, only nefarious agendas involved somehow.
I see this as a long-term thing. I think our children's children are going to be fighting for the same thing we are. Many people think that this is it. This is our last hot. This is our last shot. I don't
believe
like
doomsday. I don't believe in the end of the world shit. I don't believe in tomorrow the dollar is going to crash. Yes, the system can fail. Anything can happen anytime. The comet could hit the Earth, we all die tomorrow within 5 minutes. You gotta look at probabilities, of course. Right. So what's the chance of that happening? Very slim. But I'm saying, most likely scenario is things are gonna progress the way they are forever. There'll be bumps in the system, but if you look at what we're talking about as far as the concept of fractional reserve banking, the private banking that monopolizes the money system, it's a system that's going to get worse and worse and worse. So, for example, if you have, say, 10% unemployment now, you're going to have 25 in like 10 years, and that's going to progress to 35, 45. You're paying $1,200 a month in rent for a one-bedroom in the ghetto. Oh well, 10 years from now you're paying $2,000 a month. You're making an average of $15 an hour. Now you're gonna be making an average of $12 an hour. You see how the system progresses into getting worse if you don't do anything. That's the reality. That's the reality. Obesity is at 30%. It's going to be at 45% tax. I don't know, what are the social ills out there? Cancer is 50% chance to get cancer. It's going to be 75% tax. it's a system which slowly progresses. That's the real danger of it, because you don't see it come into actual full force. That's what's so dangerous. You have to understand the system works. You have to understand how it slowly progresses and how that corrupts eventually. And that's the more you have to see. If you see it that way, then you'll be able to see the signs and do something about it. It's gonna be hard to convince other people, but that's just the way it is.
So you have a
Well,
towards
yeah,
our
because
Father.
one of the things that we see in this is that man overcomes them. And how does man overcome these things? Well, in the movie, they show it as a man's perspective. But in reality, it is by the power of the Spirit that we overcome, because these are not human. As far as our abilities to deal with them face to face and fight them, no, we're not going to we're not going to be able to deal with that. We won't be able to win. And because they're superhuman or angelic in nature.
But I mean, more
Yeah.
of what I'm saying, like, let's take the movie Superman, okay?
Oh.
You can interpret Superman as Satan.
Yeah, exactly. I do.
But you could also, from my point of view, you could interpret Superman as Jesus Christ, a person who sacrificed himself for the whole world, which is what Christ.
Well, he was the true Superman.
Well, Christ is also telling us that we have to, we should sacrifice ourselves. Not,
Yeah.
in a different way or whatever. Not obviously the same way he did, but
We are
should
each
also-
appointed our path.
Right.
And our
Which
sacrifices are
involves
going to be whatever
sacrifice.
they are.
So
and the ultimate would be to die for the...
So in that view, you could also substitute Superman as a follower of Jesus Christ. So, I mean, that is twisting things. That is twisting things.
And I want to be careful with
so
that.
is Superman. So
Well,
is Superman saying that,
well,
that
what
it's
I would
a
say
satanic
is
thing.
you have to understand that he is being guided by, even though he's going his way to rectify the world the way he sees it. As you know, sometimes
no,
Superman...
because every time Superman does that, it goes bad. His dad tells him, "Don't interfere," and but
he does anyway.
Right, but so you could interpret that any ways, but
I mean, there's a lot, and there's some good ones.
But it's like he sacrificed himself for the world. You could interpret that in the same way. You know what I mean? So it's just weird that God can twist that, can create that thing within all of the evil that is meant to be surround. Even if they wanted,
it can be interpreted where as men, we can sacrifice ourselves in following and be like that, though not doing it for ourselves, but for the greater cause, which is in the Savior. That type of angle.
It seems like it's, it was somebody from another planet. Okay, obviously, that's not true.
It's not real.
But somebody from somewhere else who came from the Father, who had a very
now that
father.
is the master.
So
in that regard.
they could have twisted a lot of things like that. But it's just funny how, like, if you really wanted to, you could also twist it the same way that they twist it from a satanic point. You could twist it from a
lay down
Christian point or from a pro-scriptural point. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just something I was working on.
The whole thing with the Chick-fil-A.
Right. Right.
Like that. There was a small, the Small Arms UN treaty and all that to take the guns away. But what was everybody talking about? And this is even for the conservatives. I'm slamming the conservatives alike with this. I'm gonna go support, a chicken company that's, and they're like, oh, well, I'm gonna show that, I support this, and then they go and eat poison. It's like, biblically, isn't that a sin? I mean, if your body's your temple, you're supposed to be taking care of your body. You're not supposed to go eat shit that's been, it's got MSG and what was the other chemical that's in there? It's
Oh, yeah.
not the healthiest stuff to eat.
Oh no,
So,
definitely not. No.
I mean, it's kind of like, okay, well, you're showing, and the line in the sand is a cool thing and all. I support that. I got very mad just because, like, their whole thing was, well, they disagree with me, so, we're gonna have a gay kiss-in, and it's like...
That was even weirder, I think. I
don't go with my wife to like a gay
Yeah, we're gonna make a point.
My straightness in their face.
Right.
I see that I'm straight.
Right, exactly, man. It's like, who cares? All right, if they want to do that, you know, all right, whatever. I mean, people just, man.
He has an opinion, so I'm gonna have a kiss and come on, grow up, people.
Right. Right. A kissing. I mean, that's just whatever. You know. I don't see what the point is. I don't see what that's gonna do. But hey, you know, if that's their freedom. My freedom is to you know, not like that. I don't have to say that that's a good thing. That doesn't make me bad because I don't want to see that. I don't want to see two straight people kissing, really. You know, it bothers me sometimes when my brother does that. It makes me a little uncomfortable and stuff. You know, when him and his girlfriend are kissing. But you know, I'm not gonna protest it or whatever. You know, I mean, there's just so many more. There's so many more things that we have to be talking about. There's just so many more, so many things that are going on, man. I mean, where do you start? I mean, if you're not starting with this global government, then you're missing a big part of the whole picture. I know people that don't want to talk about it. Well, if you don't want to talk about it, you're missing the most important thing. And if you don't think that there is a global government, all you have to do is look at the UN. That is the mainstream global government. That's where you're going to find certain things, and that's where you can start. You know, it doesn't end there, but it definitely, it could start there if somebody is only going to say, well, you know, show me where, you know. Well, okay, I will show you, but you have to be willing to really look at it and not just say, well, you know, I'm not going to go there, you know. Well, if you're not going to go there, then of course you're not going to see where I'm coming from. You're not going to come to the same conclusion that I'm coming to because you're not willing to look at the same facts that I'm looking at. So that's the problem that I see, and I can point the finger at everybody else and say, now make sure you don't do this, but I need to look at myself and make sure that I don't do that. Because that's what God's showing me is, don't do that. Don't be like that, because then you're not really searching for truth. You're just searching for your own version of it, living in your own world, which is easy. You just don't look at anybody else and only look at what you want to look at and only, you know, focus on you. And it's sad, but it can happen to any of us. But it makes me feel good to know that there's so many great people out there. Just like you, my brother. You. All these
really bad.
I know. I'm probably in the worst area over here. My reception is crap, but that's okay.
Well, we're certainly glad that with this terrible reception that Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and all that have put all these, you know, bodily toxic cell towers all over the freaking place. Thank you for that infrastructure. We didn't have enough wireless radiation and all that.
No.
Any other good headlines?
But I've heard that tangy tangerine has mercury in it. Have you heard that?
Tangy tangerine has elemental mercury, I believe. Yes.
What does that mean?
It's it's not ethyl. Anyways, it uses your body needs all kinds of different trace minerals,
Okay.
and so they've come up with the formula of all the trace minerals that are good for you.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly what his combination. I mean, it's on the side of his. You know, it's on the side of the canister. You can actually find all the trace minerals on the side of the canister.
Right, which is probably why it was so easy to say that. But I you know, yeah, I don't know. So I was just wondering. That's the only thing. It's like, well, yeah. What is a little mercury? You know, like, I don't know. People have a little radiation. You know, I don't know. So it was just one of those questions that I think we should be looking at too.
Absolutely.
You know.
There's a safe level of mercury.
Yeah, I don't know. So, I don't know how that stuff works. That was the only criticism that I actually took seriously, I guess.
Oh. Well, yeah. I mean, there's some people who, you know, say they stay away from all kinds of different chemicals and stuff like that, but probably because they've heard that individual chemicals by themselves cause damage. I also found that I take it's basically a lysine compound that helps with various lymph node issues and stuff. And when I take that, all the problems go away. So, and that particular substance is found in what you would normally consider cancerous sweeteners and stuff like that. I'm trying to remember the actual name of the lysine compound, but the difference is that when you have an organic compound that's naturally occurring, it's different than the one that's produced chemically.
I do encourage you to vote, but I want you to realize that all the voting you did in 2008, look at results. You know, if the car was broken and you sent Obama to fix it, and he told you he was the mechanic to get it done, what is available now? Can you drive the car? Can you drive the car? Mitt Romney is in there saying, I'm a better mechanic. But one thing we both need to note about the mechanics is their strategy to repair what they say is broken. What I have noticed since Kennedy, John F. Kennedy, he was the one that instituted and brought real change. He brought real muscle to the task of being the president. They did not like that he did not follow the line. They killed him because of this. The usurper, he was a usurper. And Martin Luther King, another, stirring up dissent that they did not want. They executed them both. The brother of John F. Kennedy, Robert, gunned down. He was a usurper, not going to follow the line. Well, what does that say about both our candidates now? Do they follow a line? Were they handpicked because of this? Do you notice that the Republicans and Democrats come up with who they want to present for you to vote for? They're in control of your decision by the fact of who they give you. You may think that all the candidates are just choosing to throw their hat in the ring, but there's a definite direction they want the parties to go to get the candidate they want. Our elections are not exactly stellar, clean elections that we think they are, and that we go out to these other nations to make sure they're as clean as ours. Actually, I believe, personally, that we go out to affect the election to the outcome we want as a government in every nation. And if we don't like a leader, we may infer that they should step down or will take action. Look at Libya and Muammar Gaddafi. We can look at many different people. Look at the Arab uprising and the Egyptian uprising and the uprising we see now in Syria. Were these people just all of a sudden upset at their leader? No. These people were stirred up. And we can see that the Americans have a definite interest in who gets in place. And there's a purpose. Why? Well, it's for their purposes and to go a direction which they don't tell us. Why is President Obama out there telling Muammar Gaddafi, step down? Why did we have the problem in Egypt? Do we want to be at war? 90% of Americans don't want to go to war, so why are we at war? We voted in a Congress and a president to end the war, but the war is not ended, and there's more war on the horizon. Obama took the Peace Prize, but he has been the most warring president I have ever seen in office, and one of the things I must concede is, really, is it the president that's leading? Is it really Congress that's leading? Because we vote them in to do our representative government from our local communities, and we say no more to this, and they keep doing it, and they tell you they're going to Congress to do it. Are they not lying to you? What Obama said he would do, has he done according to his word? A man's character is based on his word. What is the character of our government? Do you think about it? Do you care about what he says, and then you vote him in, and then what he does? Do you stand up to them and call them out when they don't do it? I have not seen it. Some do. Some write, some call. But we need to send a message to Congress because they're not getting it. They don't hear you. And if they can't hear you, they're not going to move at all. And most of you are too distracted to care enough to really give anything other more than walking down Tuesday voting and saying, I did my part. And that's where it goes for you. But those who are activists, who stay involved, get the most done. Believe me, the special interests have PACs, political action committees, working every day. Are you working every day, checking them out, making notes, and making your voice be known other than election day every 4 years? Because that's all I see. So if you're a sleeping donkey, nobody cares to ride you. Be a stallion. Be involved in your government. Start telling people what you expect according to what's the law to be done. We don't go by the Constitution, and it's your fault and my fault if it's not done. Because we are commanded in that Constitution to rise up and overthrow a government that does not really stand for the people. That's what it said. That's why we are to be armed militias and have National Guard in each state. That if the feds go too far, we contain them. Now, I'm not advocating revolution, but what I am saying is this government living up to the Constitution. Between you and I think we both know that they have failed. And not only that, that they are lying to us. Because Washington, D.C. is a city-state like the Vatican and owes nothing to the American people. Once you vote him in office, he's already separate from you. He will not do what he promised. They will not let him do what he promised because he works for the Federal Reserve. Have you gotten your information? Have you checked? Look up all of these things. Check with us on Heart Talk or any of the views that we have here, the men's view. And we will talk about these things. I'm Walter Bradley. The election's coming up. Be informed. Be aware. Thank you.
Free will. You're born to be free. You have the ability and the intelligence and the conscious awareness to figure out what's right for you and for your society and for your family and everything else. If anybody convinces you otherwise, I'm not going to tell you what to think. The question is, that's why free will means you going out and figuring out and learning why not to do something or to do something. Free will is using your brain to figure out what's right and what's wrong, what's good for you and what's not good for you. If they tell you without explaining to you, they are, because free will is you using your brain. That's free will. You thinking is free. You exercising something is free. You experimenting something is free. You have to know for yourself what's right and wrong. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna fall down. You're gonna get hurt. And if you don't learn along the way, and you just trust somebody's opinion or distorted concept of the facts, and it's not 100% accurate, you're in trouble. That's all I have to say about that.
This does not mean Satan. This does not mean that I worship Satan.
The snake, your S and the snake on your head?
It does not mean anything like that. I grew up watching Superman.
How dare you represent Illuminati with your beanie?
Here's another snake here.
Yeah, I laughed when someone said that the snake behind me is 666.
Do you understand what that means? I will make you understand, and then you will follow me. Fuck off. Fuck you. I'm not your fucking follower. I'm not trying to build followers. We're not here to make followers. We're here to make leaders. That's why I joined We Are Change, to make leaders.
Yep,
Be
you
a
out
leader.
there, each and every one of you is a leader.
Everybody doing their own thing is the worst thing that we could do to help the NWO. You know, they don't like the fact that we're out there doing our own thing, yet working for the same cause.
They fear
the same-
independence.
They fear it. And they hate it. But we love it. So they can hate it. We'll love it. We'll see what wins. Does hate win or
No,
does
freedom,
love win?
freedom will prevail.
Freedom has prevailed.
How's everybody doing out there? This is Manny from We Are Change East Bay on this little quick book review. Here we go. We got the SAS Survival Guide. You can find it at your local survival store, military surplus. Pretty sure you can find it somewhere on the internet. This book right here is packed with knowledge and it can fit right in your pocket. Not only that, it can fit in your pack, it can fit wherever you can put it. Leave it in your car, leave it at your house. Not a good idea. Always take it with you. Think it's small. Something like this could be inconspicuous as your cell phone. This book right here, again, this is Manny from We Are Change East Bay. Just wanted to show it to you. SAS Survival Guide for any climate and any situation. Over 1 million copies sold worldwide. It's got to be good, right? Check you guys later.
But you mentioned Kennedy, and I think that very important to do more research on JFK Jr.'s assassination. He was clearly assassinated. Evidentiary tributaries point to George W. Bush and Jeb Bush being at that airport. You know, they knew that kind of plane very well. Experienced pilots of private planes of that type. JFK Jr. was a prudent and very skilled. That whole thing, you know. George W. Bush was reported to have gone missing for a very crucial 3 to 5 day period of time, right in the middle of his ultimately successful campaign for president, you know, in late 1999 when that happened. But George magazine, you know, let it out, you know, the editor and founder, John F. Kennedy Jr., made it clear, among other things, that he wanted to do a little bit more looking into his father and maybe also his uncles, too. Because I think Chappaquiddick, too, Ted Kennedy was poisoned.
Yeah.
They knew he liked to drink and they poisoned him. I think they gave him like some kind of real powerful psychedelic drugs or something, and such that he simply couldn't come back and, you know, handle it that night because he was just too screwed up, you know. He was lucky enough just to get back and save his own ass, you know. But that girl died.
Yeah, she could have been dead already. Who knows?
Yeah.
This is something that is not going to go away. It's not going anywhere.
I almost got run over by on accident once, and I went.
Recently, or?
Oh yeah, about 2003
Oh, I think
or 4.
you told us about it.
Yeah, and it was a guy that just happened to be a head of security for this local Bay Area security, and he was in the far lane over from me, and I was carrying a cup of coffee and reading the paper just like I normally do on Saturday morning going to work when I worked the Saturday morning shift. And as I was walking, I go, and I'm going, oh, just traffic. And I thought, well, look, see what's happening. And the truck was about from here to the stove there, coming at me, and I went, huh? I just let go of the paper, and he just missed me by that much. And then he goes, oh, I fell asleep. He jumped out. He wasn't injured, and he jumped out and said, oh, I fell asleep. I went, are you okay, dude? And he knocked down the pole, and it fell right by me. I thought, and I thought, and I was thinking to myself, no. Don't think that. But the thing about it that struck me was he didn't seem like he was, you know, when you fall asleep at the wheel and hit, you're kind of like, huh? What? You don't come jumping out going, and I went, he wasn't that asleep then. And I thought, that's kind of odd. And I've had
Man,
strange things.
I hate when people say that. I hate when people say, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk. There's two things I don't want to talk about: politics and religion.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, that's why I don't got shit to talk to you about then, because I don't talk about nothing else really. You know.
You know the truth. What? It will set you free. That's what we want to do here on Heart Talk. Let your heart talk and bring the truth and find the truth as we vet it and seek it out. And together, our hearts will talk what? The truth, which we all seek and want to be part of. At least a lot of us. We want you to join us. I'm Walter Bradley, and I work with Greg Fernandez Jr. and Mind, Body, Soul Productions for 2012 to produce Heart Talk. Join us and let your heart talk and hear the truth.
What is that whole rivalry between the Chinese and the Japanese? What is all that about?
Well, China is the Middle Kingdom and is they're the gold standard in terms of an old classical longevity culture in Asia. The Japanese also has a very strong history too, but a relative upstart to China. And in the relative modern age, I think most of any animosity is just because of Japan went imperialist in the 20th century and made inroads into China and considered it its own colony. And I think some of the worst aspects of what's the word? Empirism or something.
Empiricalism.
You know.
We can make a word too.
So it can happen in any country, really. I think there's a little bit of that ambivalence too. The royal family of Japan and the relationship to the people of Japan. I've never really studied that in particular, but that would be an interesting area of study. And what does that mean? And what about criminal or occultic elements in the royal family? Because that's so important in the case of the British royal family, because in their eyes, the British royal family, their whole mythology is very strongly rooted in the assertion that they are of the Merovingian bloodline and can trace their lineage all the way to Jesus. And with all of those things it implies the Knights Templar and all of that. So it implies occultism, it implies a religious basis, it implies a genealogy. All of that probably completely fictitious. But it's the meaning of why they assert those things. The belief in a bloodline of superiority. So that's where Springmeyer, man, that's the dude.
That's the dude. Absolutely.
That's the single most important scholar, I think, on any of these topics.
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
We can't have a good conversation and agree to disagree on that type of stuff, then it's going to be hard for us to build a long-lasting friendship. You know what I mean? So, tolerance. That's what I'm working on.
We're certainly glad that with this terrible reception that Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and all that have put all these, bodily toxic cell towers all over the freaking place. Thank you for that infrastructure. We didn't have enough wireless radiation and all that.
A corporation to simply be, I come up with an idea, I go to a venture capitalist, they give me as much money as I want. I do whatever that money. I could get advertising, real estate, marketing, this, and I could bulldoze that economy. That's how Walmart is. It's the Walmart notion is like, you have mom and pop business, and I could take a loan for this big mighty store because I have these funds that come from the bank. They just print the money, they give it to me, and as long as I meet certain earning expectations based on their investors, I'll be okay. But the point is, it's like a giant beating up an ant. It's not fair competition because these guys can sit there and just overpower and put so much money into their growth that you can't, and then they can advertise you as muscling you out, and that's the Walmart syndrome, and that is a product of fractional reserve banking because the ability to just create money, loan it out, control it, regulate it, focus, go to where you want, and then minimize the ability for your competition to do the same. And of course, this didn't happen overnight. It's a process over time. You don't have a fair competitive system because a mom and pop burger shop can never compete with a McDonald's, never, because they don't have
Well, could they have in the
They don't have
past?
access to the assets and the money to be able to do all the marketing and promotion and growth and everything to compete fairly. That's a product of the system, because if you can't manipulate money that easily, you can't just give out these massive loans and then put it on a speculation market to where you get people that just on speculation invest in your business thinking they're going to get something out of it, when in reality they might not. But it's still assets coming into the system. That's where they get their money from. That's their backing up for the loans they give out.
Right.
This is Manny from Mirror Change East Bay, just reminding you what the Gadsden flag truly represents in the Culpeper militia. That is you, my friend. You, the American person. The American people are them. This is you, and this is you. Why are these two flags so important? These two flags signified the armies of the revolution, the militia, the Minutemen, the civilian, the average person like you or I, who decided to join the 3%, take arms as an irregular, and go against the red-coated British soldier. So you, I, any male that's 16 and older is part of the militia. You have a duty to defend yourself, your neighborhood, your neighbors, and your family. So be an American, stay American, understand what it means, and don't ever think that this is about being racist, because I'm some, average Mexican, American, I don't know, I'm so many mixes, it's not even funny. But hey, you know what? It's not about race, it's all about being free. Bill of Rights, Constitution, long live the Republic, and stay tuned.
The point is, their argument could be, well, we're a free country, we can do what we want. We want to sell you crap, we'll sell you crap.
Right. But
then
maybe then the people needed to make something to where they said, well, if you're going to do that, then we're going to have to make sure that you label it properly.
Yeah, but see, they can label all they want. The reason why people are not eating the crap anymore is because they know what it does to your body. See, they've been labeling for years. They've been warning you for years. But people are like, we don't care. It's
I don't know,
but when they know,
I didn't know.
But when they know how it affects you.
Yeah.
When you actually break it down and see how it affects you, and then see how it affects the people you know,
right.
That's when you go, oh shit. For example, we've always known fast food is bad for you. Mm-hmm. Junk food's bad for you. We just didn't know how. We didn't know how serious it was. And then when it actually broke it down to how it affects you, and then pointed out the health problems you have because of it. And then they also incite some fear. What might happen, what might not happen, to your personal interests, your personal desires. When it hits you there, that's when you start going, no more. Everything that you learn about, it has to be personal, like what we're talking about with this this proposition here, the Prop 37. I'm not even talking about the proposition, but this whole concept of eating organic. You could sit there and support a law like this, saying, well, they should put organic on the shelf, they should ban this and put that. But see, now you're just asking the government to have more power. Why don't you make the decision yourself and say, I'm not going to eat this, I'm going to eat that. The market forces will eventually come this by you making the decision to do that. So it goes back to personal choices. It goes back to you as an individual, making the right choices to where it will spread like wildfire. And all of a sudden, everybody will collectively, just by their own personal actions, cripple the system without making any laws or anything.
Manny from We Are Change East Bay bringing you an important message. For those of you that don't even know what We Are Change stands for, We Are Change is actually the coalition to halt the agenda of the nefarious global elite. We Are Change is founded back in 2006 by Luke Rudowski and Dan Wallace and several other 9/11 truthers from New York. They all had family, relatives, or somehow or some way were tied to the World Trade Center. These people started the organization by questioning the official story and confronting all these politicians and high-level government officials and asking them why things are as they are. You can see several videos of Luke Rudowski confronting Zbigniew Brzezinski and a few other powerful people, Henry Kissinger, John Rockefeller, and a few others. There's groups all around the globe. It kind of turned into a wildfire as soon as it went viral on the internet. It's because of people like you, the viewer, and people like Luke Rudowski who decided to start the group. So the group itself is more of a group of people working towards an ideal, and the ideal is to halt the agenda of the nefarious global elite. If we let the New World Order go to where they want to go, which is extermination of a very high percentage of humanity, we're all in a damned, very, very bad situation. So, as fighters of the resistance, as being members of the humanity, I guess you can say, against the nefarious global elite, we stand here firm, we stand here strong. It's up to you to get off your lazy ass. I did. I stopped watching TV and cut back on baseball and football. I'm still wearing my Raiders hat. But, you know, missed a few games last season. Had to go out to protest with the different protests that were going on. So, hey, it's a republic, and in order for us to keep it, we have to participate. So once again, this is Manny with Weird Change East Bay, and I'm out.
Bruce Lee is still relevant today. He's still there.
Very
because
relevant.
there's
I read
something
this
there,
really
man.
great article about him recently too. I hadn't realized he had such a San Francisco. I think he even lived in like Oakland or Alameda.
Yeah,
or
he's
something.
Tribune building.
Yeah.
He had a dojo. One of his dojos was like right over there.
Wow. Right in Chinatown,
Yeah.
Oakland. Yeah. It's a great Chinatown.
But they said that he actually
the
lived
figures.
up on the
Yeah.
towers or
No,
something.
yeah.
But yeah, he was Oakland bound mostly, and San Francisco too.
Very interesting. And, you know, he upset the traditional order, you know, because he had a way of
crazy.
fusing elements from key disciplines and putting it together with athleticism that nobody had ever put together with before. Really interesting.
It's amazing.
Handsome guy, and he would have been a big acting star too.
He's mentioned in Fritz Springmeier's book, and it might have been a ritualistic killing or something, but there was always stories about his great-grandfather did something, made some, he got cursed, basically. And ever since
Some
then, the
interaction
family-
with one of the dragon, one of the triad
Yeah,
groups or
yeah.
something.
Did something wrong to the wrong people. So, I don't know. And then they've killed every first male ever since, pretty much.
You're never gonna know if you don't experience pain and pleasure. If you don't know what's right, if you haven't learned your lessons, you're not gonna know. You know, you can't enforce something on somebody else when it is an absolute truth, and there's no way you can prove that it is. You have to give people the opportunity to figure that out for themselves. The concept of freedom. You are born to be free. I don't care what any religion tells you, what any political system tells you. You are born to be free. You are by nature free. You are, according to the laws of nature, a free organism, conscious spirit, individual, whatever you want to call it. And it is your job to figure out your conscious ability to figure out what's right and wrong. You cannot enforce anything on people if they don't understand what it is. The problem of society today is they make you think you're stupid and you're pathetic and that you need their laws and their experts and their systems to function as an individual and you don't. Because unless it's perfect, unless it is guaranteed 100% perfect, it's never gonna. It's not necessarily guaranteed to be right.
People are either going to wake up or they're going to be forever locked in their zombie-like state, I guess you could call it. The real zombies, not this Miami bath salt guy.
No, yeah, I know. That was weird.
Yeah, what was the latest? So they had...
Now it's not basalt.
Well, see, they haven't ruled it out yet. I came across a few articles. But no, go on with what you're saying, because I came across that one as well, where they said it wasn't basalt, so...
You want me to do one?
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. Well, what am I gonna say? I'm fucking pissed off.
Just say July 28th, or June 28th, death of the Constitution.
Healthcare reform.
The government is in control of your body.
They own you. Your own.
They choose who dies. You have no choice. Assisted suicide or not.
What would I say that would help? Not much. I'm just
Get the
too,
word out.
too angry sometimes, you know.
There you
I'm
go.
really angry about this shit. So,
Anger is good and bad. Especially if we're in a game. I look at it as a game, dude. I'm at war. In fact,
It is a game,
I mean,
actually.
I look at this shit against the Illuminati as a game. This shit to me is fun. Why is it fun? Because you don't know who's gonna win. Right now we're at the point where everyone thinks they won.
Who won? We won?
Yep.
Cool.
Because we never gave up.
That's right.
Because the only way they can really win is if they control your mind. That's the only way, you know? And if they can control your mind and fucking influence every single aspect of your life and make you do what they want you to do, it's over. So that's what I'm saying, you won, yeah. Already by spiritual default, we're victors.
Because we don't give in. I mean, you know.
Not that we don't give in. We still give in to a certain extent. I'm not perfect. I give in. You know what I'm saying? Everyone,
But
it's just natural temptation.
We don't sell our soul, you know.
Right,
We're not like,
exactly. So we might like make an everyday sin, but we don't actively go out to like participate in it.
it's a big, big difference.
You know what I'm saying?
And again, wait, where are we at today? Today is August 11th,
Did the world
2012, and I believe today, or was it today or tomorrow, we're supposed to be having a 9.5 earthquake.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah, so,
Interesting.
you know, it's kind of bad that we're sitting in the dirt right here. If we have a major one, I'm sure the earth's going to open up and swallow us up, and California is
bit.
going to be a thing of the past.
Yeah. Sure.
They said that, what is it, Arizona's going to be the new beachfront.
Mm.
So
That'll be
again, we
interesting.
have the end of the world doomsayers saying
Enjoy
that,
that.
we're gonna see the, what is it, San Onofrio, I believe it's called, the
And
nuclear
they're-
power plant
And they're probably happy about it.
in SoCal, gonna get hit with what the conspiracy theorists are saying is gonna be a combination of two things this time. They say that it's gonna be HARP assisted with an underwater nuke.
Wow, they're working together.
So again, just like the conspiracy theorists were saying about Japan and the Fukushima disaster being caused by an underwater nuke,
Yes.
look for that again. Coming up in 2012, the conspiracy theorists are all out there, all over the message boards, wailing and screaming, letting us know that the New World Order will go to the lengths of setting off a nuclear weapon under the seas of the Pacific Ocean, causing, again, a massive tidal wave to hit California.
That's the problem that I see, and I can point the finger at everybody else and say, now make sure you don't do this, but I need to look at myself and make sure that I don't do that, because that's what God's showing me is don't do that, don't be like that, because then you're not really searching for truth, you're just searching for your own version of it, living in your own world, which is easy. You just don't look at anybody else and only look at what you want to look at and only, focus on you. And it's sad, but it can happen to any of us. I mean, I can understand if people don't like God, but I don't understand why some people hate God. That to me doesn't make any sense. I started writing more, and the story got very, very spiritual very quick. So even the whole James Holmes stuff, it got back to the whole the bloodlines and things like that, dealing with mind control, and it's just like, oh man, it's just kind of, the story can kind of really, the effects can get very blurred within all of the things that are happening. So I really need to take more time on this book and really make it not a good book, but a great book.
How's your book going?
Oh, it's good. It's gonna be a lot bigger than I thought, and I think I'm gonna actually push it back.
For when? Like, when did you want to release it?
Maybe next year at the Con, maybe. If but yeah, I really want to take more time with it, and because I could do it
And if it's just gonna be the fact of for me just trying to prove to myself that I can, well, that's not a good reason to have to leave a bunch of stuff out that I think is pretty crucial. So I just want to take more time with it. I really want to get more into the John D. Camp type stuff. You know, it's just like, I don't know. There's just so much there, man. I think definitely by the Con next summer, I'll definitely have a good polished, clean version. And if I can have you keep doing what you're doing, keep proofing it, and keep helping me out, then that would just make it that much better.
Yeah, it would speed it up a lot too.
Yeah.
Because like when you're writing a book and like you don't have anybody else other than yourself, you start getting tired of reading the same thing over and over again.
Exactly,
You start
man.
missing stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was another project we had on the back burner we talked about before, was doing some videos and stuff, and we could totally still do that. That's
Yeah, I mean,
we've even, I've got like 2 years of video that like we can even, you know, if we just need like some B-roll or something like that to just mix in. I mean, we've got stuff from street rallies and street actions. And,
yeah, exactly.
You know, Con for like 3 or 4 years.
Right. Yeah, just something like that, you know. Just anything to kind of get it out there, because yeah, you get a better response when you have videos. So for music, it's definitely the one thing that I'm trying to pick up on. But I just got to get better programs and stuff like that too. So this flip program is not gonna cut it for that much longer. But I'm just using what I have here, and that's it.
New World Order, this is what we think about you. We should do a little thing like that.
Dear New World Order.
Dear New fucking World Order.
Enough said.
You scumbags.
I wouldn't want to waste any of my words on you.
This is all I gotta say about the New World Order link.